Can you feel that ancient pull, that irresistible urge to seek beyond what is known? Imagine a cosmic queen, radiating power, love, and fierce resolve, deliberately journeying into the absolute unknown, into the very heart of darkness. What profound purpose would drive such a being? What secrets would she uncover, not just about herself, but about the very fabric of our existence? Friends, prepare to embark on a mythic odyssey, not merely into an ancient story, but into a breathtaking alternative history that could reshape everything we understand about our past and our place among the stars. We are delving deep into the epic tale of Inanna, the mighty queen of heaven, as she ventures into the forbidding realm of her sister and rival, Ereshkigal, the sovereign of the underworld, often called the Kur. Inanna stood as the most formidable deity within the Sumerian pantheon, embodying not only passionate love and abundant fertility but also the strategic ferocity of warfare itself. Now, her exact motivations remain shrouded in a magnificent mystery within the ancient tablets. Some whispers suggest she sought to expand her dominion, others hint at a compassionate desire to console her sister, mourning the loss of her husband, Gugalanna. Yet, one thing is perfectly clear: Inanna prepared with extraordinary meticulousness. She adorned herself with her 7 divine forces, powerful insignias including her radiant crown, precious jewels, and majestic royal garments. And with foresight, before her departure, she gave precise instructions to her loyal minister, Ninshubur, to implore the assistance of the other gods should she not return within 3 days. Upon her arrival at the underworld's threshold, Inanna faced a stark confrontation with Neti, the stern gatekeeper. Following Ereshkigal's absolute command, he demanded that Inanna pass through no less than 7 formidable portals. At each one, she was compelled to relinquish a cherished item of her power, piece by symbolic piece. At the initial gateway, her magnificent crown, the Shigura, was removed, symbolizing the profound loss of her celestial sovereignty. The second portal saw her surrender her lapis lazuli beads, representing the fading of her profound wisdom and cosmic vision. Passing through the third threshold, her ornate bead necklace was taken, signifying the loss of her authoritative voice or perhaps her esteemed social standing. The fourth barrier required the removal of her breastplate, named, "Come, Man, Come," a poignant stripping away of emotional protection and the very essence of love. Through the fifth gateway, her golden bracelet was relinquished, marking the erosion of her unique abilities and capacity for decisive action. The sixth door demanded her measuring staff, resulting in the forfeiture of her supreme authority and discerning judgment. And finally, at the seventh and ultimate portal, her royal garment, the pala, was removed, culminating in the complete loss of her identity and inherent dignity. Ultimately, she entered Ereshkigal's chilling presence, completely nude and profoundly humbled. Here, the narrative takes a dark turn. Inanna, perhaps driven by an instinct for power, attempted to seize her sister's throne. But the Anunnaki, the stern judges of the underworld, swiftly condemned her. Ereshkigal fixed upon her the terrifying gaze of death, and Inanna's vibrant body was horrifically transformed into a decaying piece of flesh, suspended from a hook on the wall. A grim fate indeed. But the story does not end there. After 3 agonizing days, Ninshubur, remembering his queen's instructions, desperately implored the heavens. Only Enki, the brilliant god of wisdom, chose to intervene. From the very dirt beneath his fingernails, he ingeniously crafted 2 unique, asexual beings, the Kurgara and the Galador. These fascinating creatures were born without conventional gender or biological life, granting them immunity to the laws of nature and the watchful guards of Ereshkigal, allowing them to enter the realm of the dead unimpeded. They served as messengers, untouched by the gaze of death itself. They slipped into the underworld unnoticed, displaying profound empathy for Ereshkigal's deep sorrow. In return for their kindness, they received Inanna's lifeless body. They carefully sprinkled it with the food of life and the water of life, and miraculously, she was reborn. Yet, Inanna could not simply ascend from the underworld without leaving a substitute. This was an unyielding rule of the Kur: the balance of mass had to be preserved. For one soul to rise, another had to fill the void. Inanna could not return as she had died to that world. So, she ascended to the surface, accompanied by fierce demons, the Gala, who relentlessly sought someone to take her place. She firmly refused to sacrifice Ninshubur or her faithful servants, who had been grieving deeply for her. However, upon reaching her city, Uruk, she discovered her husband, Dumuzid, not in mourning, but regally enthroned, sumptuously dressed, and celebrating. Enraged, Inanna pointed directly at him and commanded the demons, "Take him." And thus, Dumuzid was violently dragged into the underworld. This powerful myth beautifully symbolizes the cyclical nature of the seasons. Later, Dumuzid's sister, Inanna, nobly offered to share his agonizing fate. Consequently, Dumuzid spends 6 months in the underworld, representing the period of drought and winter when the earth dies. Inanna occupies his place for the other 6 months, allowing Dumuzid to ascend, and with him, the return of fertility in spring and summer. Unlike later myths where the descent is often accidental, Inanna's conscious choice to descend symbolizes a profound psychological transformation. One must shed the ego, represented by her discarded vestments, to be reborn with genuine wisdom. The ancient Sumerians, with their keen observational skills, noticed something extraordinary in the night sky. While most stars held a seemingly fixed position relative to one another, 5 distinct celestial bodies moved independently. They called these mysterious wanderers Bibu, meaning wild rams. They meticulously identified these 5 planets, visible to the unaided eye, and astonishingly associated them with their principal deities. Mercury was linked with Enki, the god of wisdom, Venus with Inanna, the goddess of love and war, Mars with Nergal, the deity of the underworld, Jupiter with Enlil, the god of air and storms, and Saturn with Ninurta, the god of agriculture and warfare. As we have seen in Inanna's compelling story, the breathtaking ascent and descent of Venus across the horizon, appearing both as the morning star and the evening star, was absolutely central to her rich mythology. Now, while traditional archaeologists and historians often interpret this story as a metaphor for astronomical and psychological cycles, we can intuit another, truly mind-bending interpretation. What if the Sumerians were recounting something far more literal? If Inanna, representing Venus Dilbat, journeyed to the underworld of Nergal, associated with Mars Simut, could we not interpret this as an interplanetary voyage? For the Sumerians, their gods were the planets. There was no separation between the spiritual entity and the celestial body itself. If Inanna, or Venus, physically left her celestial position to travel to the realm of her sister Ereshkigal, who later shared her throne with Nergal, or Mars, then we are quite literally describing the movement of one celestial body towards the domain of another. The fascinating detail that she had to traverse 7 portals, and shed her protective gear, her 7 divine forces, is interpreted by alternative theorists as the discarding of stages from a spacecraft, or perhaps the necessary depressurization of space suits upon entering a dramatically different atmosphere. It almost appears as though she knew this was a journey without physical return, for how could one retrieve parts of a vessel or suit discarded in the vacuum of space or across multiple atmospheric layers? Furthermore, the absolute law of the substitute powerfully reinforces this idea. A physical return is impossible without an equivalent exchange of mass between the 2 distinct environments. Indeed, it seems utterly plausible that the Sumerians were narrating a story that was not entirely their own. They were the awe-struck observers of something they could not possibly replicate, or perhaps they were faithfully recounting a long-forgotten history from a time before their own. The evidence, surprisingly, lies in the very medium they chose, writing on clay. Ironically, baked clay proves far more enduring than much of our advanced modern technology. Think about it, compact discs and digital versatile discs last perhaps 20 years. Hard drives and solid-state drives might endure for 10 to 50 years. Paper, in optimal conditions, could last 200 to 500 years. Leather, like that used in the sacred Torah scrolls, endures for 300 to 2,000 years. But baked clay? That lasts an astonishing 5,000 years, or even more. If a global civilization were to collapse today, 5,000 years from now, not a single digital file would remain. What would survive? Our carved stones and our ceramics. Let us consider another compelling Sumerian poem, Inanna and Enki. Here, she journeys from her vibrant city, Uruk, to the city of Enki, Eridu, specifically to obtain the Bami, which were essentially the laws or the software of civilization. She then carefully loads all these precious Mi into her boat of heaven, known as the Ma'ana, to transport them back to Uruk. While the word translates to boat, the Sumerians described the Ma'ana as something capable of navigating both their rivers and the firmness of the sky. If we consider the gods as ancient astronauts, then the Ma'ana becomes undeniably a transport vessel or perhaps a cargo module. If the vehicle itself is intriguing, what she transported is even more so. Inanna carried in her boat the Mi, pronounced May. The Sumerians meticulously listed well over 100 of these items. These were not abstract ideas, they were described as physical objects that taught precisely how civilization functioned: writing systems, advanced metallurgy, intricate laws, sophisticated agricultural techniques, complex music, and even the very craft of the priesthood. If we follow the fascinating logic that the Sumerians were recounting the history of an earlier, advanced civilization, then the Mi could be interpreted as data disks, comprehensive digital libraries, or perhaps detailed technical manuals. Inanna would have downloaded or perhaps even appropriated this advanced technology from Enki, the chief scientist of that era, and ferried it in her vehicle to Uruk, thereby igniting the spark of human progress. This brings us to the profound implications of the cargo cult theory. In the myth of Inanna and Enki, the Sumerians might have experienced a cargo cult on an absolutely monumental scale. During the Second World War, American soldiers established bases on remote islands in the Pacific. They arrived with awe-inspiring planes, radios, and an abundance of canned food. When the war concluded and the soldiers departed, the indigenous natives, who had never witnessed such technology, began to construct airplanes of straw and landing strips of packed earth, earnestly hoping that the gods would return with their cargo. Similarly, the Sumerians inherited profound concepts, from advanced astronomy and sophisticated mathematics to intricate legal systems. But when the teachers vanished, they were left to meticulously record everything they remembered with the only technology available to them: clay tablets and reeds. What does this tell us about lost technology? If the technology of these gods, or of a prior advanced civilization, was based on something that simply does not survive the passage of time, such as biotechnology or energy systems rooted in crystals or frequencies, we would not expect to find metallic gears or circuit boards. Instead, we would find precisely what the Sumerians described: impossible feats and dazzling devices, recounted by people with limited understanding. They tell of portals that magically open, weapons that brilliantly shine like the sun, and journeys spanning thousands of years. And all of this was carefully inscribed in clay, because clay was the only paper they possessed. Bringing this ancient past directly into our modern day, we can draw a truly fascinating connection. Elon Musk, in a profound way, is attempting to complete the inverse journey of Inanna. He endeavors to transport humanity, our entire civilization, from Earth to the realm of Nergal, which is Mars. The Sumerians firmly believed that civilization was spared from the Great Flood because the gods, specifically Enki, provided the essential instructions to preserve all life. Elon Musk's primary motivation for colonizing Mars is precisely the preservation of human consciousness. He speaks constantly of humanity's urgent need to become a multiplanetary species, to ensure our survival against a potential extinction-level event here on Earth, a modern deluge, be it climatic catastrophe or nuclear devastation. Curiously, there is an undeniable connection. Just as the Mi, the invaluable data of civilization, were carried in Inanna's boat to safeguard humanity's future, Musk's formidable starship vessels are meticulously designed to transport the hard drive of human culture and technology to another planet. The vast emptiness of space effectively becomes the new river, a strategic geographical choice where the relentless search for water and ice on Mars dictates the very survival of any future colony. The idea that the Sumerians were recounting the story of a far older, highly advanced civilization makes immense sense here. If Elon Musk succeeds, and 5,000 years from now, technology on Mars tragically collapses, the future inhabitants of that distant world might very well write on carved stones about Elon, the god who descended from Earth in a bird of metal to save us from the fire. They would possess the compelling story, but they would no longer have the rockets. This mirrors precisely how the Sumerians possessed the ancient tablets, but no longer had the magnificent vehicles. One of the greatest enduring mysteries in archaeology is that Sumeria appears to have emerged almost ready-made. They burst onto the scene with a complete writing system, advanced mathematics including the sophisticated sexagesimal system, profound astronomical knowledge, and complex social laws. While traditional historians struggle to justify this as an isolated social evolution, they cannot find the transitional records. There is no clear, documented evolution over millennia leading to such a sudden and sophisticated appearance. It is as if they received a complete software package. This powerfully supports the idea that they inherited a wealth of knowledge from a civilization that came before them, whether it was the mythical Atlantis, an advanced culture from the Ice Age, or even beings from another world entirely. This is precisely what would happen if we successfully colonized Mars or another planet, and then, for some unforeseen reason, lost the industrial capacity to reproduce those advanced technologies. Inanna's journey, whether a literal space voyage or a profound spiritual descent, ultimately speaks to the enduring human quest for knowledge, for survival, and for transformation. She chose to strip away every aspect of her external power and identity, becoming vulnerable, only to be reborn with a deeper understanding, a clearer vision. This mirrors our own continuous journey, to shed the superficial, to face our deepest fears, and to embrace the wisdom that comes from letting go, allowing us to rise stronger, more complete versions of ourselves, ready to build and preserve across the ages. This ancient narrative, viewed through a new lens, empowers us to believe in our own potential for cosmic journeys, both outward into the stars and inward into the depths of our own being. If you are as fascinated by these mysteries as we are, and wish to delve deeper into these captivating theories, please feel absolutely free to explore the same incredible sources that guided us in creating this thought-provoking video. We began our research with the profound work, Inanna, Queen of Heaven and Earth, co-authored by Diane Wolkstein and Samuel Noah Kramer, initially published in the year 1983. Beyond this foundational text, we consulted the insightful book, The Sumerians, Their History, Culture and Character, meticulously penned by Samuel Noah Kramer in 1963. For the thrilling technological and space-related themes, we drew inspiration from The Mars Project, brilliantly developed by Wernher von Braun in 1952. Finally, we incorporated the visionary perspectives of Zecharia Sitchin from his groundbreaking work, The 12th Planet, first released in 1976, which provides crucial context for theories concerning ancient astronauts and the fascinating concept of inherited technology from a distant past. If this journey through cosmic myths and forgotten histories resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button right now to join our growing community of curious minds. And don't forget to share this video with all your friends who love exploring the boundaries of ancient wisdom and modern imagination. Your support helps us uncover even more incredible stories.